everyone, and welcome back to Ratchet Clank Going Commando, where today we're back on Grelbin, second time in a row, to get the moon crystals. There's a lot of them. And to help make this process easier, I've brought with me guests once again. We have today Tactician Geek.
Hello there.
And we have Whisker Biscuit.
Heyo.
And we are getting started on the upper level of Grelbin. Oh, these Yetis are an absolute nightmare.
I know it was mentioned in the last episode about how they were the source for the infamous Yeti award that continued through most Ratchet and Clank games. A little more history for it specifically. The programmer that was meant to build this level inherited from a different programmer and was only given 3 days to actually hammer out all the kinks and bugs and just make it a completely playable map. He figured out that the code from the other programmer was not something that he could decipher himself, which I've heard is fairly common in the programming world. You know, because to each their own. It's your own language. And so this particular programmer, Tony Garcia, decided just to scrap everything and start from scratch and just blast through it as quickly as possible. As a result, the area is huge. The monsters are very tough. The Leviathans specifically are pretty standard for like the big crystal boss that you get. But the Yetis, because of the way that they're were kind of hastily put together, led to them being more coded as swarm enemies with very quick speed attacks, quick animation recovery. Very little, pretty much everything that you would see like in a swarm enemy, but like with a ton of health, just way too much health, and you hit it, and if it gets knocked back, it recovers way too quick, right for a counterattack. So
Honestly, makes me think a lot of an enemy from the next level we're gonna go to in the next episode. But those enemies are tuned to be swarm enemies.
Oh, yeah.
But my god, just look at how many there are. I approach one crystal and like 10 pop up surrounding me. There's 3 hives right over here. 4 hives. They have hives.
I used to use this level specifically to upgrade the bouncer and the, was it the plasma cannon? Yes.
Plasma coil.
Plasma coil, thank you. Because they were very good at dealing with the swarm enemies.
Yeah, I used this level for the plasma coil as well. It was a very useful weapon here.
Mm-hmm. Shield Charger too, though, because Shield Charger gains experience by receiving damage, but of course, too much damage at once will just knock it right into non-existence. So these guys with their quick attack patterns is very good for this kind of thing because they're also high-level enemies.
Mm-hmm. The Shield Charger saved me so many times in this level. Oh, it sucks because I do like the design. I love Tundra levels like this. It's very pretty. But, oh my god, it sucks. It just sucks, thanks to the Yetis.
I believe the shield charger can also deal damage, like even in its unupgraded state, if you just run into enemies.
Yes, it can. I actually have been using that in a few episodes to try and level up the shield charger. I run out of ammo on another weapon I'm working on. I'm like, okay, screw it. I'll toss on a shield charger and just run into the enemy a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a terrible strategy. Don't do it, but it's also very funny.
Yes, if it's a Ratchet and Clank game, it's not a terrible strategy if it's funny.
This is true.
And this is why it's a good thing that these games don't have finite lives.
Yeah, I got my ass kicked more than a few times in this stage. But yeah, one of my friends who's not in the voice call with us was able to find a picture of the Yeti Award. I'll go ahead and try and toss it up on screen now if I remember. But it looks very silly, as it should.
Almost kind of, if it's a thing they did for each game, it almost makes you want to know, like, what Like, what part of, Up Your Arsenal or Deadlocked earned the YETI award?
That is a good question.
I mean, I can kind of think maybe what part of Up Your Arsenal might have earned the YETI award, but obviously this.
I can't, but that's because my experience with Up Your Arsenal is unique. But we'll get into that when we get to that game.
Yeah.
That was a time.
Yeah. So, earlier talking about how this level was so hastily put together. So another thing that kind of came with that is that because the level is so large, it ended up having memory leak issues. And
of course it did.
And as a result of that, there is a planned mini-boss for the main story progression part of this level, which you're going to be doing later. There was supposed to be a mini-boss at the end of that, but as a result of the memory leak, they literally couldn't fit the boss in. It would take up too much power from the PS2 to do that.
Oh, that is fun. They cranked a lot of power out of this console, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It looks really good.
I've seen some behind the scenes for the making of this game, and they some of it you'll be able to see later in the bonus features after completing this game. But some of the stuff, like the graphical abilities, they were able to push, but like only on such a tiny scale because of how much it taxed the system, was rather phenomenal, honestly.
I have not had a chance to look at those yet, and I am excited. As of us doing this podcast, I've actually just finished recording the final boss. So I haven't gotten to the bonus features yet, but that'll be soon. My god, the camera! It fights me so much in this level, and I think it just keeps getting stuck on the Yetis. I don't know what was happening there.
I had the same issue happen recently when I was playing Up Your Arsenal. I also
Camera
had
getting stuck.
Yeah. And then I got pushed out of the level.
Oh no.
Oh, that's the worst.
Not just the camera that's getting stuck on everything that it shouldn't. But yeah, these Yetis, they're so relentless. I couldn't, back on Tabora, I was able to methodically comb the desert, sweeping back and forth, getting all the crystals. With how relentless the Yetis are, I couldn't do that. I was basically forced to just keep moving, or I would run out of ammo and then die. Like, you cannot do this level strategically or methodically. You just have to keep moving, or the Yetis are gonna get you.
Well, you can if you decide to sacrifice weapon experience in favor of just using something like the heavy bouncer.
Yeah, at this point I'm using the plasma storm just because I am done with these Yetis. I want them off of me. The hover bomb, I can use it on the Leviathans to get plenty of experience, but these Yetis have got to go.
That's how you do it.
They are just infuriating.
I put the charge boots to great use in this level as a kid, just fleeing everything. Fighting and fleeing. Constantly.
Yeah, I can see it. But yeah, going back to what we were saying earlier, or what Whisker Biscuit was saying earlier, the programmer who picked up this level and then had 3 days to do it, I'm studying computer science right now. That's the career field I'm going into, is programming, and yeah, I can corroborate. If you only have 3 days to implement a big feature and you're inheriting someone else's code, it'll be faster to just scrap it, because it can take 3 days more, even, to just understand what someone else has written. Heck, if you haven't worked on your own code in a couple of weeks, it can take weeks just to get back up to speed on what you were doing. Coding is very unintuitive, surprisingly.
Well, that's why you're supposed to write notes.
Yeah, you're supposed to document heavily. But no one's got time for that. You're on a deadline at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not hold it against the programmer at all for how much of a mess this level turned into, but it doesn't mean it doesn't suck.
Yeah, this is definitely the worst of the crystal gathering sort of levels across the Ratchet & Clank series.
Definitely the series, yeah.
Thankfully, I have gotten it out of the way now, and we just gotta survive the Yetis. Look at all of them! There's so many!
Just way, way too many. Like, it was like, it's easy to see why this became, you know, a failure war, because it's basically just a case of, like, let's take some extremely tough enemies and have them act like the common 1-2 hit swarmers.
But yeah, at this point we've covered the left 1/3 of the upper region. And I'm pretty sure I've already missed crystals at this point. We'll just
Definitely.
We'll just have to hope we run into them later.
And you don't even have the benefit of like searching areas, not having to worry about enemy attacks, because chances are you either fled from an area with a bunch of Yetis, or there was just a pocket that you happened to miss and didn't realize until it's too late and you're already on them.
Yeah. God, and there's just... It almost feels like they just keep it feels like they respawn. It feels like there's no end to them. I know there is an end to them, surely. There has to be.
There is. I can confirm. I have done it before. It's just that another way that they're programmed is that when they come out of, like... they either come straight out of the snow or out of those little miniature dens right there. And out of the snow, it's just singular ones. But when it's den, there's usually multiple that will come out, either at a time or when you kill off 2 of them, say, and then 2 more pop out of it until it, like, is depleted. Okay. And so it can seem kind of infinite.
Yeah. God, it's bad.
So, I have found that one thing that's useful for training up some weapons is that there are, like, the paths that take you into this upper area. It is possible to get up there and the Yetis will not be able to reach you. And so you can just sit there and shoot them.
I think I actually do that at one point just to get a brief break from them.
You know, that's how I was able to train up stuff like the spider bomb.
Oh, the spider bot glove.
Every game there's a weapon that really sucks to try and level up.
Honestly, that could be its own Snow Beast award all on its own.
Yeah. But the spider bot glove is just... If it didn't have a level up, it would be fine. If they just kept it for, like, puzzles or mechanics, and I got disoriented here and wasn't sure if I was against the wall or not. I thought there was still more to go. Can you blame me for getting disoriented? But yeah, if they just left the Spiderbot glove for solving puzzles to get platinum bolts, if that's all it was used for, that would be perfect. But they had to go and make it a weapon, and that sucks.
Yeah.
It doesn't work with the design philosophy of a lot of this game. There's not a lot of places where you can hide around a corner, toss the spider bot, and let it go to town.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the next game has quite a few weapons that are kind of in that area where it's like they are like decent ideas, but they really suck to try and level them up.
They're more gimmicky, but it's not really worth the gimmick.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get there. But I don't remember any of that, as the two of you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get to that story at the beginning of that Let's Play, for sure.
Honestly,
yeah, save that for the sewer podcast.
Yeah, let's save it for that. The sewer podcast is not going to be in this Let's Play, though. That's up your arsenal. Okay, what are we up to? 34? We still have a ways to go, because we already turned 9 of them in, and there's 101 total. We're gonna, we'll know we have all the Moonstones, 1, when we get the skill point, and 2, when we hit 92 Moonstones. So we're about a third of the way there, little over a third.
Yeah, more or less.
Bit over a third.
That's the one upside, is that the Moonstones here are worth enough money for you to want to do it if you want like some higher powered weapons for the end of the game.
Yeah.
Or to get the highest, or to get the, well, not the highest level armor, but like the next highest level armor.
Yeah, I still don't have that second highest level of armor at this point. So I'm working on a little bit of a weaker armor set.
She's got lofty ambitions.
It was rough. They really like to put a lot of these Leviathans really close together.
Yeah, that's definitely is also an issue. Like, these enemies on their own would not be so bad, but when there's 2 of them right next to each other, shooting often at very different timed attack patterns, plus all the Yetis on your ass, then it just,
Yeah. But, like, there's this one, there's one right over there that, like, the camera just panned past. And then there's another one off to the left. Oh, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And then there's another one to my left right now. Probably another one to my right.
Yeah, luckily these Moonstones are worth 3,000 bolts each, so...
I left this in.
wipe out.
I did not. I, 1, forgot that it was right there, and 2, was not aware yet that it was an instant kill. I thought at worst it might, like, be like lava. You fall in, you burn, you jump out. But no, it's instant death.
I do think it's funny in a lot of these games, Ratchet and Clank and several others, that it's like lava. Yeah, you get hurt and there's a funny animation. Icy water, nope, you just dead.
Yeah.
You're more resilient to lava and magma than cold water.
Well, that's because obviously when you get hit with fire, you bounce off and go.
You went completely silent there.
No, it's funnier that way. It's funnier that way.
No, the Discord didn't pick it up, but I can see from the waveform that Audacity picked it up.
Oh, excellent. Good.
I was doing the Mario scream.
I figured.
And if it doesn't pick it up, you could just replace it with Ratchet's actual noise.
Oh, but yeah, no. Okay. If it picked up in Audacity, then it's definitely going to be on the episode, but me and Whisker Biscuit did not hear that.
No.
I think the lava got Tactician, Geek.
Oh, hey, the hover bomb gun.
Is now the Tetra Bomb gun. You want to know my first reaction to the Tetra Bomb gun?
Sure.
That's 5, not 4. What are you talking about? How is it the Tetra Bomb gun? And then I was like, oh, that's really powerful. But seriously,
Yeah.
Tetra is 4. It should have been 4 bombs, or call it something else. The Quinta-Bomb gun? Okay, that doesn't sound as cool.
It doesn't.
Pentabomb.
Ooh, I like Pentabomb.
That would have been cool.
The big boom.
Okay, Pentabomb would be fun, but a lot of people probably would have calling it Pentagon, and I don't know if they wanted that kind of association in a game that was already making fun of some stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair point. Honestly, they should have increased the bomb count by 1, and then because it's Ratchet and Clank, you know the joke they could have made.
The Sexabomb.
Yes, exactly. They love that kind of humor.
Even better, it starts out as 6 bombs, and when it hits something, they split into 9 in total.
Nice. Oh, right, Tactician Geek. You were saying a while back that you wanted to go off about something. Not this franchise, but a related franchise, a cousin franchise.
Yeah, the office buddies worked together on. Oh, hey, Platinum Bolt.
I did get the Platinum Bolt, and it's right
Yeah,
over here.
But yeah, the office buddies of Insomniac's old office buddies who love to cross-reference their game series.
We actually saw them earlier in this Let's Play.
Yeah, talking about, of course, our boys Jack and Daxter, and their game that came out the same year as this one, Jak 2, and how that game is kind of a mess.
Is it really a mess? Do tell.
Well, so you take your... So apparently the story goes is that Naughty Dog made themselves a nice little Banjo-Kazooie type collectathon platformer called Jak and Daxter, and that game did really well. But like a couple weeks before Jak and Daxter came out, another game called Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, and the guys at Naughty Dog really liked Grand Theft Auto 3, and so they said, we should make our next game like Grand Theft Auto 3. And so Jak 2 turned from a collectathon platformer to an action platformer, to a mission-based action platformer that takes heavy inspiration from Grand Theft Auto. And that was not a good decision, if you ask me.
I have seen playthroughs of it. I have not played it myself, but I've seen playthroughs. And from what I've seen, I don't want to play it.
That's fair. Completely fair. It is hard to get through. Third game's a lot easier to get to play, just play in general. You want to know another funny fun fact about another non-cousin game, but somehow completely related game that has to do with Jak 2?
Sure.
The Shadow the Hedgehog game is the way it is because of Jak 2.
I can see that.
Oh, no.
So,
of course it is.
Yuji Naka was, after finishing Sonic Heroes, was very busy between the year that he started production on that Shadow the Hedgehog and finishing his last game, and he was only really able to play or finish a couple of games during that time, and one of them that he completed was Jak 2. And so that gave him not only the idea, but like the belief that was what a lot of Western markets were into. Not necessarily GTA, but specifically Jak 2 levels of edgy.
Oh no.
And so that's what inspired a good portion of what inspired Shadow the Hedgehog to be the way it was.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I had a feeling that the two were somehow related, but I didn't know it was literally just because the creator played Jak 2 and said, let's do that.
God. The game industry is a thing.
At the very least, out of Jak 2, we got Jak 3.
Game
which still
programming
has
really
a lot
is
of problems, but is honestly a much better game.
I will be mad for a while about Jak 3 because Jak 2 was messy, but they had the full time they needed to work on it for like its story and stuff. Jak 3 was had corners cut, people pushed to complete deadlines that were impossible. The game was shipped earlier than they wanted it to be. All these sorts of issues, and so what was a really interesting story, like in concept, and they've talked about it in like there's a Jak and Daxter like Bible-esque book. It's been a hot minute since I looked at it, but they talked about like some of the concepts they had for Jak 3 that would have gone a lot more into like character and you know, how the two main cities that you're involved in, how they might have agreed or disagreed around certain things, and how Jak would have had to like deal with like having to choose between one or the other in terms of what they were planning to do about things. And it really bums me out because as much as I loved Jak 3, especially compared to Jak 2, its story was really, really weak. Just the bare bones story, you know, not getting into like dialogue or specific writing choices or anything like that.
Yeah, I have no idea why they decided that they were going to give themselves not even a year to put out Jak 3. I think it had to do with the founders of Naughty Dog planning on retiring. Because I know that, because I read an article, and I know that that was the main reason behind Jak X, is that they wanted a transition game that they could work on while they were moving from the founders of Naughty Dog to putting new people in charge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. I haven't heard anything about that, but I would believe it.
I can link you the article after we're done here.
Please do.
It's a really long article because it goes through the entire history of Naughty Dog as a company, but it's a very good read.
Fun. But yeah, that could definitely explain why Jak 3 would have been rushed then, if they wanted to make sure it was finished under the same people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wanted to make sure like this last game is done before they go.
Yeah.
You can blast through Jak 3 so fast, even with cutscenes. It's a very short game especially compared to the second one.
Yeah. Helps that it's also like way easier and debatably maybe even too easy.
It's too easy for its length.
Because they take so many of the... Because it's basically like they really did take a lot of the complaints people had about Jak 2 and its difficulty to heart, but they overcompensated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that tends to happen.
And
that happens with a lot of games. You have a really hard final boss, and then the next game, you can beat the final boss without even entering the arena.
Yeah,
I'm sure there will be a longer discussion about that later.
I'm sure. I do really appreciate game companies that take criticism of their games to heart. Those are the companies that you can tell really care, even if they may have questionable practices. I have a lot of issues with, especially modern day Naughty Dog.
Mm-hmm.
If they are listening to criticism, then you know they do care about their games as an art form, and that is a really good starting point at the very least.
I think.
If it's the problem with Naughty Dog, I think you're talking about give that article I was talking about a read. That's been part of Naughty Dog since its founding.
Yeah, that makes sense. After all, the programmer for this level had 3 days! 3!
Well,
he was a fairly new hire, too.
Not Naughty Dog.
Right? Shit. Still, point is, crunch is a bad issue in the industry. I
mean, if, I don't know, if, some things I've heard is that apparently Insomniac learned its lesson about crunch after Up Your Arsenal.
Yes, they learned it in a very hard way.
Yeah, because there was a lot of stuff that was supposed to be in Up Your Arsenal that got cut because
I am very curious.
Because they didn't give themselves enough time.
Yeah, I'm very curious, but sewer podcast.
Yeah,
definitely. Oh, definitely. I will delve deep into that rabbit hole that day, because let me tell you, it's probably my favorite game in the series, and it is. Knowing the history of it makes it very melancholy, very bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's going to be a sad episode. I can't wait to actually experience that game for real.
Yeah.
Oh god. I feel like at this point I should just say what happened and then we can go over it again when we get to that, because that's going to be a ways off.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Keep referencing it. We might as well talk about it. So the first time I played Up Your Arsenal, I was pretty fresh out of a major surgery, which I did not recover very well from. I had a lot of issues with recovery from that surgery. So I was like, okay, I am miserable. I want to do something fun. I'm going to sit down and play Up Your Arsenal, and my friends can join me, and we're going to stream it, and we're going to have fun. And I was half asleep, delirious. I would almost say in a fugue state the entire time. We sat down in the morning, we played it, and we beat it in one sitting. And that night, I passed out. It was like a fever dream. I don't know. That was an experience and a half.
One marathon of a 8 or it was almost 9-hour stream.
Yep,
it was like 8.5, 9 hours.
Which is honestly impressive for a game you've never touched before while you were very, very not feeling good.
To be fair, to be fair, Up Your Arsenal is much easier than either the first or second game.
But yeah.
True. But also, I was in a post-surgery daze.
Yeah.
It was a mess, but it was a delightful mess, and I can't wait to actually play the game for real while fully conscious.
It'll be interesting to see how much you remember or not. Because
Yeah,
you claim you don't remember, and then it turns out you do.
Yeah, the next 2 games are going to be interesting because the way you're going to be playing it for the you're going to be playing them for the let's plays is going to be completely different from how you first experienced them.
Oh, yes. The game after Up Your Arsenal has a 2-player mode for playing through the whole story. I played through half of that with Tactician Geek, half of that with Whisker Biscuit. They swapped off halfway through. That was fun.
Yeah.
It was very
and
fun.
I'm probably going to try and drag one or both of you back for an episode or 2 of that.
I'd be
just
down.
So we can show that off.
I'd be down. Everybody will be very impressed by my lack of deadlock skills because I had not touched the game since I was 9 or 10 when I was pulled into that stream, and I do not know how I got through the second half of the game with you, honestly.
It's because that game was not balanced around 2-player, so 2-player turns it into a cakewalk.
True.
Yeah.
It was a miracle that you weren't carrying me the entire time, though.
I love the Ratchet & Clank games. The PS2 games are fantastic. PS3 games are fantastic in a completely different way. The PS5 game is also fantastic. It gets way too much criticism, which is wild because it is easily one of the best in terms of gameplay, but that's a long ways from now.
Yeah, if you're trying to let's play the entire series, that's gonna be like a few years off.
That's gonna be years off. I'm trying to aim for like one. I'm hoping that how it'll shake out is about one Ratchet and Clank game a year to give it appropriate spacing. So I'm not like crowding a whole franchise into a couple of months, like I did the first time I played through them.
Are you going to do any of the spin-off games, or are you going to go through Deadlocked and then start PS3 immediately?
I'm going to go through Deadlocked and then jump to Tools of Destruction and go through just the mainline games.
It's probably for the best.
I mean, if we're talking about the canon timeline, then the way you should do it is to go into Tools of Destruction, then play the spin-off games, and then and then play Quest for Booty and A Crack in Time.
I refuse. I may eventually go back to the spin-off games at some point, but I want to focus on the main storyline games.
Yeah. Size Matters is alright. Secret Agent Clank has good ideas, but is honestly kind of a hot mess.
So, Size Matters is alright on portable, on the PSP. Yeah. Size Matters is not a good game on the PlayStation 2.
Well, I played it on PSP, so...
I do not have a PSP.
And I first experienced it on PS2. And let me tell you, it was not a fun time. I didn't actually even beat the game. It was probably the only Ratchet & Clank game that I owned, or that I had played, that I didn't ever beat to completion. Because there was one boss about halfway through the game, that just I could not get for the most BS reasons, and I just hung up my controller at that point.
I don't remember the game that well, so I'd have to
get these fucking Yetis off me. I'm not even playing right now. We're just watching back what I did last week, and I am about to have an anxiety attack from all of them. Oh, I can't believe we have the entire map explored and we're missing 3 crystals.
It's truly the worst
yeah.
kind of feeling.
It's the exact same thing that happened on Tabora. You're just missing 3.
I think I was missing 2 on Tabora. But
No,
yeah,
it was
enough.
3. I remember because I managed to pull off the "it has to be this way" parody.
Ah. Fair enough.
You thought you had them all, but there were still 3.
And this feels more like a death sentence to realize you don't.
Yeah. If only you had done Damocel first.
Nah. I prefer this routing, even if it is much harder to get all the Moonstones. Much harder. But yeah, at this point, I think there's like a little gray spot in the northwest corner of the map that I'm heading towards. Like a little itty bitty, and it's got nothing. No, wait, there's something.
There's one. Oh yeah,
How
before
many times have I died? 3, 4?
oh yeah, so
I
before we get to the
stopped
end,
keeping
I
track.
have another theory that I have to talk about.
Yeah.
So we know we're collecting these crystals for the New Age mutant. New Age
Mystic.
The New Age mystic.
New Age mutant mystic.
That's a new one.
Anyway, the New Age mystic, and so we all know that he's, well, we don't really know who he is. He's this random guy who sits in the middle of a desert, either a hot desert or a cold desert, and he has tons of money for some reason. So my theory is that he is an ex-Megacorp executive who possibly
That makes sense.
who possibly felt regret for how Megacorp destroyed Tabora, and so he's doing this New Age mysticism as a kind of repentance or something.
Okay, I see your theory and I raise you. He thinks he's feeling guilt, but he's going into it in like the kind of BS, not really helping out New Age liberal type.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm completely down with this. And there's the last crystal. Thank you so much to both of you for joining me for this. This has been fun. But we're
Absolutely.
finally done.
We're
finally done.
We are. That's a great way to end it too. Just
Yep.
putting yourself out of your misery.
Fantastic. All right, let's go turn in those Moonstones, and then we're gonna wrap up here. Thank you both for joining me, and I will see you both next time in Up Your Arsenal.
Goodbye.
Sounds good.
Hello? We've got more Moonstones.
No, you have not.
What?
Existence is a lie. Sensations are illusions. Possessions are merely visions.
All right, I've got an illusion of some Moonstones. I'll trade it for a vision of that hypnomatic part.
You have learned much, young one. Now bring me more Moonstones, and riches shall be your reward.
And with that, next time on Ratchet & Clank Going Commando, we are heading out to save a Damocel in distress. I'll see everyone next time for that.